All right. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. We're here with another Friday night class. Let me post it yet? Yeah, I'm going to send the link out on Facebook first before we get started, and we can get into it. True Spirit. Brothers, keep it on.
You can forward that link to me. I'm gonna forward that to one of the bros.
Yeah, that's perfect. Got you. You know what? Fun sometimes. Live now. Come on, man.
Read the caption. What's the key of this person? I guess it's
Oh my God.
That is not clear.
Listen, don't do that. Don't, please don't. That's crazy. I can't believe that. I'm gonna have to talk to that brother about that. Let me get this cracking on the book. So we can move ahead.
I got another pen on.
I don't even got a pen on me, bro.
I didn't really know these neither. I could have and I should have. I did it on or I keep markers.
I've been slipping on that.
You ain't got no pens, Cap?
That does.
Listen, everybody's taking all of my things.
I ain't too.
Yeah. One of these individuals are.
More than others. The guy.
It's just always playing with Benjamin.
I mean, that's just really the way to go.
It's called natural. It's natural, brother.
Natural selection.
Natural selection. You're the teacher. All right, I'll send it to you right now, Tazabon.
Send it to me too. I'm trying to send it to him.
Oh yeah, con.
Let's just make it a group message and then me too.
See, he's trying to join the group, so don't think he creeps that black to the
You're getting an individual.
I don't know if you reach that level of expertise.
How's it about getting a group message? Okay.
Taliban got his precepts in.
Sir, you can't even read.
You can't even read though.
I about responding, but you know what?
Don't even dignify it, brother. You're bigger than that.
Called being a man.
Okay.
Talked to one of my old bros that was staying with me at the house. He was renting a room for me, right?
Come.
This dude, I was like, "How you been?" And he's like, "Man, to be honest, really bad." I was like, "Damn."
They going through it.
He had a DUI last year. His shit went up. His insurance went up. Then he stopped paying his insurance because he couldn't afford it no more. Then he wrecked his car, totaled out. Now he's about to lose his job too. Dude is like fully going back down to zero, maybe in the negatives.
So I'm precious.
Yeah.
All right, I sent it out. All right, let's get started.
No viewers.
First things first, I want to deal with something very short first and foremost. Can you hold for me? Give me Genesis 36:9, and then we're gonna go into some Hebrew. It's gonna be like a quick Hebrew lesson. I'm gonna start doing quick Hebrew lessons. Matter of fact, before we do that, all right. Before we do that, let's just deal with very elementary Hebrew. Shalom, shalom. Anybody know the difference between the three?
No.
All right. The difference between, because you have some, like the Yiddish speakers, the rat Jewish people, they say shalom, right? You have certain Israelite groups, they only say shalom, okay? They only say shalom, all right? Some groups even condemn the use of shalom entirely. real quick. If you take a look at the word peace, shalom and shalom are both correct. And in the Lashon Kodash, shalom and shalom are both correct. Neither one is incorrect. You see what I'm saying? They're both correct. So nobody can condemn the other. The first time the word peace is used in the scripture is here in Genesis 15:15, and it is shalom. All right? Knock at the door, knock at the door. Hello. So yeah, so the first time the word is used, peace, is shalom, right? And forgive my penmanship. All right, shalom. Right. So this is the first time it's used, shalom. So the primitive and the first and foremost way to say peace in Greek and Hebrew is shalom, no matter what anybody. Then later we see shalom evolve, which is just dropping the Y. All right. This Y is added on a lot of words. It changes the tense of certain words and things of that nature. Sometimes, or elongates a word, makes a word more proper. A lot of times, some words are just simplified, minus the Y sound. Okay, so this is what we see with the difference between shalom and shalom. Okay, but when you hear like Amalekites, Jewish people say shalom, they're saying shalom. They're saying that the Y is making a oo sound, so they're making it shalom. You see what I'm saying? That's the only difference. And then shalom is simple. But that's basically it. I know it's like a little controversy over which one is proper. Again, both is proper. Neither one is wrong. Somebody says shalom, SHALAM, that's fine. Or shalom, either one is fine. All right, they're both Hebrew. They're both used in the Bible, interchangeable. Okay. Let me erase the bubble shot.
Okay.
Select. Now.
Where's the bubble kusha?
Bubble Kusha. Oh yeah, Bubble Kusha, please. Please. Bubble Kusha. Write that real quick. Warm up with some Hebrew. And then matter of fact, real quick, Tazama, if you could give me Sicarii 38 real quick. Just want to deal with that real quick before we get all the way in. Bubble Kusha. Yeah, forgive my penmanship, it's horrible. Bye-bye. See that bubble shot? I believe it may be an H on the end. It is like that. Bubble shot. Please. You see? Real quick, you got that Sicarii 38? Give me Sicarii 38 and start from the top real quick.
Sirach chapter 38, verse 1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for his uses.
That's 38? I need 34, Slacky. Just real quick. I want to put this in the air.
Okay. Sirach 34:1. The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false.
Are vain and false. Read on.
And dreams lift up fools.
And dreams lift up fools. Read on.
Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth at a shadow.
Go ahead.
And followeth after the wind.
Read on.
The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face.
That's right.
Of an unclean thing, one can be cleansed, and from that thing which is false, what truth can come?
By that thing which is false, what truth can come, right? So sometimes people have dreams. A lot of times these dreams have no significance. These are just things that occur in your mind. All right, just want to put that out there. Go ahead.
Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain.
Yeah, it's vain at the end of the day. Sometimes you do have dreams that are significant and symbolic and have an omen. Sometimes it's just your mind doing whatever it's doing. Right? Read on.
And it says, and the heart fasteneth or fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them.
As it set not thy heart upon them. Don't worry. Basically. You know what I'm saying? That's it on that?
No. For dreams have deceived many.
Dreams have deceived many. People have these. Well, what's a dream that deceives many? Who knows?
I have a dream.
I have a dream.
Oh yeah.
Dreams have deceived many, right? Read on.
And they have failed that put their trust in them.
Exactly. So, a lot of times these dreams are just that. You see what I'm saying? Read on.
The law shall be found perfect without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth.
That's right. Now, I want to get into this Hebrew. Give me that in Genesis 36:9.
Genesis chapter 36, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir.
So we're getting ready to hear the generations of Esau, the descendants, the chronicles of the Edomites, right? Skip to verse 22.
Verse 22.
Uh-huh.
It says, and the children of Lotan were Hori and Hemim, and Lotan's sister Timnah.
And
Lotan's sister was Timnah.
Him. All right. I want you to go to the Hebrew for that. Strong's H, 1967. This guy never stops. So
What they doing?
on my Facebook, man. Some brothers are crazy, and it's funny that the brothers hit me up saying what he's saying because it's on topic for tonight, which we're gonna get into it. So like in 22, which is it? I'm gonna look it up real quick just so I can make sure I'm on point as far as the writing of it goes. Hayem. All right, read that.
Is it either
Hayemim.
Hayemim? Hayemim, Strong's H 1967. Hemim, meaning exterminating, a son of Lotan, brother of Hori, and grandson of Seir.
It means what?
Exterminating.
It means exterminate. So when we take a look at these names that the white man has and he gave, starting with Esau, on his people, it's always something along these lines. We went into last week what Seir meant, what Esau meant. You see what I'm saying? Now we see one of their descendants is named what? Exterminate. Click on the etymology of that. This etymology goes back to two words. We're going to deal with both of these words. How do you write that one? That's Hawama, right? So, and I was speaking about this earlier, dealing with Shalom, how sometimes the wa will appear, also sometimes the ya. The ya and the wa will appear and kind of be interchangeable, but it oftentimes changes the tense. Sometimes it'll make it into a question, right? Like Michael. Michael in the Hebrew is what? Mayaka Allah, right? Mayaka Allah, right? When you say that, it's a question. It's got the ya there. It's a question. Who is like the Most High? It's a question. But if you put the wa, it's more definite in that situation. For example, Methuselah. Methuselah means, Methuselah in the Hebrew is Mathwa Shalak, meaning when the strike shall come, when the judgment shall come. You see what I'm saying? It's definite, meaning when he died, that's when the judgment came, which is what? The flood. You see what I'm saying? So, but if it was a ya, Shalak, it would be more like indefinitive, as the wa made it more definitive, more definite. You see what I'm saying? But we have Hawamim, same word, just these two things different. All right? What does that mean? Go ahead.
It means confusion.
Confusion. So what are the Edomites saying? We got desolate, wasted, devil, sacrifice, exterminating, confusion. What do they bring? Extermination, right? And confusion. What are they going to be ending with? Extermination and confusion, right? Go ahead. Go to 2000. That's the next one.
Okay.
It's 2000.
It says to move noisily, confuse, make a noise, discomfort, break, consume, crush, destroy, trouble, vex.
That's the white man. That's what he comes to do. And he understood this. His spirit is like this. His spirit is just this adverse, wicked, demonic, destructive spirit. So he gave his people these names that indicate that, to match their pigmentation, to match their behavior, right? Now I want you to go real quick. Give me Esther 9 and just read 24 to 25.
Esther chapter 9, verse 24. Because Hamam, the son of Hamam,
all right, the same word, Hamam, right, which is the transliteration in this version, Hawamam, right, read on.
It says, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite,
which is a what? An Edomite, particularly of the people of Amalek, right, read on.
The enemy of all the Jews.
The enemy of who? The Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, particularly the Southern Kingdom in this time, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, who were dwelling amongst the Elamites at this time in India, right? Read on.
Had devised against the Jews to destroy them.
They devised against us to destroy us, right? Okay, and that word destroy there, I believe, is the same one for this. For one of these. I forget which one exactly. Go ahead. Let me get it. Biblical shot if you could. To destroy. Because this is what they want to do. They want to destroy us. You clearly see that. All right, and they have something called a what? An omen nomen. Okay, meaning a sign in their name. Their name basically foretold the type of people that were going to be a desolate people, a wasteful people, a sacrificial people, a devilish people, people who came to exterminate. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Destroy is a body.
Abad, Salakia. The word appears there. I believe it's H2000 that appears in either 24 or 25. So if you just, matter of fact, look up H2000, it should give you the verses. It only appears a small number of times.
It says 24. Well, you think it's
Which word is it? Which word is it?
it consume.
Consume. Okay, the word consume. So read 24 again.
It says because Haman, the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is the lot,
read on,
to consume them.
To consume us. So his plan was to consume us, right? Or to
and to destroy them.
Or hawamam us, right? As the name of his forefather, all right? Because that's what his people come to do, to destroy the Jews, to destroy the Israelites. Keep reading to 25 and let's see what happened. Go ahead.
Verse 25. But when Esther came before the king,
read on,
he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head.
So his own way that he wanted to exterminate or consume or destroy us or bring us to confusion will be brought upon his own head. That's how Esau is going to get judged. And this was on a small level, happening during the time of Esther, which is how we commemorate it with what? The Feast of Purim, okay, at the end of the year, right? But that's a small level and a small scale version of what's going to happen to the so-called white man on a large scale. They're going to be exterminated. They're going to be met with their own devices, okay? Read on.
And that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
He and his son shall be hanged on the gallows, okay? Did they not hang us on the gallows? So they're going to get that plus worse. They're going to get thermonuclear fire. They're going to get harsh, unmerciful bondage. Then they're going to get ultimate extermination, okay, as a people. So that was happening in the book of Esther on a small scale to show us something, all right? But that's pretty much it on that. We're going to move on now to the main topic, off of the Hebrew. I'm going to start getting a little bit more into the Hebrew doing a little small, Hebrew lessons, going into a few words before we get into the main topic. The main topic tonight, though, is going to focus on the book of Ezra, the Ezra-Nehemiah period, okay? 2 weeks ago, we went into the Mamzer doctrine, okay? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we debunked it, all right? Showing in the scriptures how unsound it was. But certain people came and they said, well, what about in the time of Ezra and Nehemiah? Okay, who knows what happened during the time of Ezra and Nehemiah? Anybody?
We're taking captivity.
We're coming out of captivity. We're coming out of the Babylonian captivity. We were building the temple. The Medo-Persians were ruling the earth at this time. Okay. Now, what happened was you had a whole slew of Israelites, particularly Levitical priests, who had taken on heathen wives. It'll tell you Hamitic wives, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite wives. Okay. When they took these wives on, they had children by these women. The children that they had by these women were not raised in Israelite culture. All right. They were not raised after the law, statutes, commandments. They didn't even speak Hebrew. They followed the ways of their heathen mothers, worship the gods of their heathen mothers. Okay. So those brothers at that time made a decision to put their women away and also to put their children away. Okay. So though we did debunk the Mamzer doctrine, what a lot of people will then run to is this situation. So we're going to tackle this situation head on, go into it through the spirit and explain what happened and what went on. All right. First, I need you to get Ecclesiastes 3:1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1.
Mhm.
To everything there is a season,
To everything there is a season. To everything. Read on.
and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
And there is a time for every purpose under heaven. That's in verse 1.
Okay.
Let's skip to 5. Read 5 to 6.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
A time to cast away stones.
A time to cast away stones. We've been going into the temple, man. Right? Who are the stones?
Israelites.
The Israelites. We are the stones. So there's a time to cast away stones, right? Read on.
And a time to gather stones together.
Then there comes a time to gather the stones. Okay, read on.
A time to embrace.
A time to embrace stones, read.
And a time to refrain from embracing.
And a time to refrain from embracing. So that's basically the fundamental scripture to understand this situation. There was a time where they did cast away stones. Okay, but now we're in a time where we're gathering the stones back. And we're going to go into further scripture to prove it, but that's just kind of to lay the foundation. All right. Let's go to Ezra now. Give me Ezra 10 and 1. Let's go right to the situation that's being referenced. Okay.
Ezra 10 and 1.
Uh-huh.
Now when Ezra had prayed, and when he had confessed,
Uh-huh.
weeping and casting himself down before the house of the Most High.
So to give y'all an update, so we don't have to read all these chapters before. Ezra was upset because he saw. You get that? RIP that from him?
Getting the let him come to me.
Let him walk into it.
Yeah.
Yes, man, there's a lot of spiders out lately. Anyway,
It's getting cold.
so Ezra, yeah. They're looking for warmth. So Ezra seen this happen. He's seen all these Israelite men with all these foreign wives, and he's seen how these children were being raised up. Right? And now start that again from the top.
Now when Ezra had prayed,
Uh-huh.
and when he had confessed,
Uh-huh.
weeping and casting himself down before the house of the Most
It
High,
upset Ezra greatly to witness this. Read on.
there assembled unto him out of Israel a very great congregation of men and women and children.
And children, read on.
For the people wept very sore.
Uh-huh.
And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, or Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Ezra, we have trespassed against our God,
Read on.
and have taken strange wives of the people of the land.
Read on.
Yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing.
Yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing, right? Read on.
It says, now therefore let us make a covenant with our God to put away all the wives.
Let us make a covenant with our God to put away all our wives. Read on.
And such as are born of them.
And such as are born of them. Read.
According to the counsel of my Lord.
Wait. What does that mean according to the counsel of my Lord? The advice of my Lord. Who is my Lord? No. No. Lord there is lowercase.
Not the king in
The Lord is Ezra. Ezra was upset when he seen this. He expressed how upset he was. He wept. He prayed before these people. And he was the chief of these people. So they said, my Lord had a counsel. He had advice, like she said. Perfect word for what the counsel is. He had advice. He advised them to do away with those women and those children. So they said, we will do according to the counsel of my Lord. Not that it was a law that they had to do this, but because Ezra saw it would be best for that time period, they did it, right? So go ahead.
And of those that tremble at the commandment of our power. And let it be done according to the law.
Let it be done according to the law. You know what they say when they hear that? That means it was a law that you had to do this. No, because you can't find that anywhere in the law. I'm going to tell you what it means when it says, and do this according to the law. Hold that. Give me Numbers 30 and 2. I'm going to show you what it means. Let it be done according to the law. We got to just, thoroughly and rightfully divide the word of truth. Because in order for that to be true, you would have to be able to go into the law and show me these things, which you can't.
And also show people being condemned.
Exactly. People being condemned for that, which we're going to go into all that.
Righteous men being condemned.
That's right. Let's go to Numbers. You got Numbers?
Yeah, 30
30 and 2.
Numbers 30 and 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord.
If a man vow a vow, a covenant or oath, they said, let us make a covenant or an oath according to the law. Meaning how the law says to make an oath. Not the law says we had to do this. We're going to make an oath to do this as the law defines us to do or gives us the guidelines to do. That's what they're saying, right? Read on.
or swear an oath
or swear an oath. Read.
to bind his soul with a bond.
So they bound his soul. It wasn't a commandment for him to bind their souls in this situation, but they went out of their way to bind their souls in this situation. Okay, read on.
He shall not break his word.
He shall not break his word. So they made the vow to do this, and they couldn't break their word on it. They had to fulfill it because they bound their soul to it. That's what it means when it says, we will make an oath according to the law. Okay, read on.
He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth.
They said, we're going to do it. It wasn't a commandment for them to do it, but since they said they were going to do it, they are bound to that according to the law. Okay, now let's go back to that, Ezra. You finished 3?
Yeah.
Read 3 again.
Ezra 10:3. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our power to put away all the wives and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my Lord.
According to the counsel of my Lord, meaning according to the advice of Ezra, right? We're going to make a covenant according to the law that says, if you vow a vow, you have to fulfill the vow. Read.
It says, and of those that tremble at the commandment of our power.
Read.
And let it be done according to the law.
So we're going to lawfully make an oath to go in accordance with the advice that Ezra is giving us, which had to do with the putting away of them women and them children. Okay, now let's go to Judges 21:1. Okay, we're going to take a look at other examples in Israelite history where oaths were made that weren't a commandment that you had to do, but a certain oath was made in a certain period of time. That's why we started with what? Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for every purpose under the sun. You see what I'm saying? So there were times where certain oaths were made specifically with dealing and intermingling with certain peoples. Okay, we're going to take a look at one in the book of Judges. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 21 verse 1. Now when the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpah, saying,
the men of Israel, all the Israelites, 11 tribes, swore to do what? Read.
Saying,
not 12 tribes, 11. Read on.
Saying, there shall not any of us give his daughter unto Benjamin.
Unto who?
Unto Benjamin.
That's the Israelite. There was a time where the Israelites vowed that nobody was going to give their daughters to the Benjamites. That happened. Is it unlawful to deal with a Benjamite? That's an Israelite. No, it's not unlawful to deal with an Israelite. But there was a time period where a situation occurred that compelled these men to make an oath, according to the law says to make an oath, to where if you swear to do something, you have to do it because that's what the law say. So it compelled them to make that oath, so they fulfilled that oath and did not give their daughters to the Benjamites. All right? That's just what happened in that period of time. That doesn't mean that that's the precedent that's set for all generations. That doesn't mean that that's now a part of the Torah. That's just a situation that occurred, a vow that men made, and they had to fulfill. Okay, read on. That's it on 1?
Yeah, unto Benjamin to wife.
Unto Benjamin to wife. Now skip to 7, read 7 to 11.
Verse 7. How shall we do for wives for them that remain?
But they said, look, Benjamin, this is after the war, right? Benjamin's depleted. I believe Benjamin's to about 400 men. They said, well, what is Benjamin going to do? How are they going to have wives? What the hell are we going to do? We didn't all made a vow according to the law. We cannot break that vow. Read on.
Seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we would not give them for our daughters to wives.
Read on.
And they said, which one is there of the tribes of Israel that came not up unto Mizpah to the Lord?
So they said, okay, who did not come to this council to make this vow? Right, read on.
It says, and behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead.
From Jabesh Gilead. So Jabesh Gilead was a particular town in Israel, and nobody from that area came up to that council and made that vow. So this is where the Benjamites were to get their wives from. Okay, right. But again, this was just a vow that certain men made during a certain period of time and does not set the precedent forever. Okay, read on.
To the assembly. For the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the woman and the children.
That's it on that.
That was 10. You want 11?
Go to 11. Slide.
And this is verse 11. And this is the thing that ye shall do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male and every woman that hath lain by man. That was it.
And because what? They was going to give them all virgins. The Benjamites was going to get all virgins of the women of this area. Number one, why is the reason that the men are being killed? These are Israelite men. Why are they being killed? Anybody know? Because they didn't come up to this council, which everybody was told to come to this council. So they didn't come. So it's a catch-22 because, okay, you guys didn't come, so you guys didn't make the vow. So you have daughters that are eligible for these men to marry, but you guys didn't come with the rest of the nation to move, as one body on this on this decision. So y'all got to deal with the punishments for that. But all the virgin women were left, and they were given to the sons of Benjamin, so the Benjamites can exist, so you can exist today. Okay.
Does that mean that tribe or those people don't exist anymore?
The people of Jabesh,
Exterminated?
the people of Jabesh Gilead, I don't believe so. I don't believe the tribe, but they weren't necessarily a tribe. They were more so like a clan. You see what I'm saying? You have tribes, and then within tribes you have clans and families. So they were more so like a clan of people. You see what I'm saying? Because like you said, they were wiped out, so there was no men left, unless there was men children around. Did they say they killed the men children?
The men children too.
It just said the men and the women that knew men. Okay, so if it didn't say to kill the men children, then there would still be descendants of them around, because the men children were there. Judges 21 and 11. 11 was the last one. 10 or 11 is the last one.
I believe it's.
Yeah, I don't believe there was a command to kill the children. Every male, right? And every woman who have known men. It could have included children, it could not. Let me look. Matter of fact,
every male and every woman that have.
Yeah, if it says male there, it probably means it's probably Ayash. What we at? Judges 21. That's 11.
They said with the women and the children.
It says with the women and the
Go
children.
and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and the children.
Yeah, okay. Well, then the children would have been included. There's no more Jabesh Gilead. I don't think you even hear about Jabesh Gilead after that. That probably gets absorbed into, because yeah, Jabesh Gilead was that's really not even like a town of Gilead, because that's just like a district, like a hood in Gilead. You see what I'm saying? So for whatever reason they didn't come, but it was all ultimately for the Lord's purpose. But now what I want to do is let's go to stay in Judges, go to 11 and 30. Okay. Matter of fact, we read Ezra 1? Right, 10 and 1.
Come on, we did Ezra 10 and 1.
Yeah, go to Judges 11 and 30. Just go and start with you guys.
Judges 11 and 30.
Uh-huh.
And Jephthah vowed a vow.
So Jephthah vowed a vow, right? We're learning a lot about vows, okay? Jephthah vowed a vow. We read about Jephthah, coincidentally enough, where? In the Mamzer lesson. He was the mixed brother out of Manasseh, right? Now he vowed a vow, right? Because he was, he wanted to do valiantly, and he wanted to be blessed by the Lord. He said, Lord, well, we're going to read about the vow. Go ahead. Let me not spoil it.
And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord and said,
Read.
If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's.
That's right. So he said, look, the first thing that greets me when I walk through my door, when I come back from this battle, I'm going to offer and sacrifice unto you. This is the vow that he vowed. So he's bound to it according to the law, right? Read on.
And I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
And I will offer it up for a burnt offering. Read on.
So Jephthah passed.
Where you at?
32.
31. Okay, skip to 34. Read 34 to 39. Salaki.
Verse 34. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house. And behold, his daughter came out to meet with him, the timbrels and with the dances. His daughter came dancing to him. That's the first person he saw. The first person who came to his door. Read. And she was his only child.
And she was his only child. Read on.
Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass when he saw her that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, that has brought me very low.
You have brought me very low. Why did she bring her father very low? He got to kill her now. That's why we were reading in Leviticus 5 on the last Sabbath class, and also there's a scripture in the New Testament that says not to make vows. It's better off you don't make vows, because you mess around and end up in a predicament like that. You just say something on the fly, and now you're bound to whatever you said. So now it's like, well, I did say the first thing that came to my door I was going to offer as a burnt offering to the Lord. So, hey, there's your first thing, your daughter. You got to think. You see what I'm saying? That's why we got to be very careful about the vows that we make. Read on.
And thou art one of them that trouble me, for I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back.
I cannot go back according to the law, which you just read about in Numbers 30 and 2. Read on.
And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded
Yeah.
out of
Go ahead.
thy mouth.
She was such a faithful woman to the Most High Yahweh. She said, whatever you said, you have to do it. She understood that. But she wanted to bring a stipulation, right? We're going to find out what that is, Read.
It says, for as much as the Lord have taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity.
So she went to go bewail her virginity. Why? Because she died without having any children, without having a husband. So she went to go mourn because of that. Right? Read on.
I and my fellows.
I and my fellows. So she went with her friends and they went and mourned for 2 months. Read on.
And he said, go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she went to her companions and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which she had vowed, and she knew no man.
Which is what? A burnt offering. Okay? So this is what happens. People vow vows. People are bound to those vows. Are those vows always right? No. Clearly, human sacrifice is not right. Right? But he made that vow, so we had to fulfill that vow. Same thing with what happened in the Ezra-Nehemiah period. They made a vow based off a judgment call that Ezra gave them. That was the smartest choice for them to make in that time for the construction of the temple. All right? They casted away stones. All right? We're now in a time of taking those same stones that were cast away and gathering back, which we're going to get into further. Give me Ezra 9:1 now. That was 39. All right, let's go to Ezra 9:1 because I want to go to something because a lot of people will read, they'll read like this Ezra situation, and they'll say, oh, look, they say it's in the law. It'll reference the law. Let's go here first to Ezra 9, and then we're going to connect it back to the law and see exactly what's being spoken about. Go ahead.
Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites.
And the priests and the Levites, read.
Have not separated themselves from the people of the land,
read.
doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites,
the
Hittites.
The problem was what? We were following after these people's way. Not only were just taking these heathen women a wife, we were taking after their idols. Okay, read on.
It says, even the Canaanites and the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands.
Wait a minute. The holy seed have mingled. You know what people say that? They say, look, when you're mixed, you're a holy seed and you've been mingled amongst the people. Let's find out if that's true. Give me the Hebrew on mingled. Let's find out if that's true. All right? We're going to examine. See, a lot of these people, they love to go into the Hebrew, but they want to avoid the Hebrew at all costs when it debunks their doctrines, okay? That term mingled there has absolutely nothing to do with somebody being a mixed person, okay? And that term mingled there goes back to the law, which we're getting ready to read, okay? Read on.
I'm trying to get it. Ezra 9.
And 2.
It's mingled, just arrive.
I rob, right? Read on.
Arrive. To pledge, exchange, mortgage, engage, occupy, undertake for, give pledges.
What one of them words means a mixed person? To mortgage, to exchange, to pledge. That means they made covenant. The Holy Seed made covenants with the people.
To have fellowship with, share.
To have fellowship with the people, which according to the law is forbidden. But to who exactly? Who exactly are we forbidden to have covenants with? And whose women exactly are we forbidden to have relationships with according to the law? Let's find out. Give me Deuteronomy 7:1. Let's find out. Now remember, in Ezra 9:1 it says, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, okay, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites, okay? You're going to find out that every single person that was listed here is not on the forbidden list in the law, okay? Go ahead, starting with 1 in Deuteronomy 7. See, people don't want to go to the law. They want to sit here and try to make things into the law. Let's just go right to the law and see what it say. who we can and can't deal with ultimately. Read on.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
7 nations. These are the only 7 nations Israelites are forbidden to have relationships with, okay? Forbidden to have marriages with, forbidden to mingle with. These nations right here, okay, according to the law. It's not saying that we should go and have children and relationships and make covenants with all these various people, but to be technical, according to the law, when they said they broke the law, it's because they dealt with these people who, according to the law, we were not supposed to deal with under any circumstances, okay? Read on.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them. But what do they do? The Holy Saint mingle. When we go to that, well, the word mingle, what it means make a covenant with, a pledge, surety, mortgage, etc. Have fellowship with. That's a covenant. We are commanded in the law not to have covenants with these same people who in Ezra 9 it tells us we make covenants with certain. Okay, that's what it's talking about when it says we broke the law. All right, read on.
Nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Read on.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
These 7 nations, these 7 Canaanite nations are the only people in the law we are not supposed to deal with. Okay, point blank, period. There's no way getting around that. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll start at verse 3. They'll start at verse 3. They won't start at verse 1. They'll start at verse 3 and just try to apply that to all the other nations. But that's incorrect. Start at verse 1. Let's keep it in context. It's only speaking about 7 particular nations who are Canaanites. It's the only people it's talking about. All right. And did Israelites still deal with and have children with these Canaanites and have and bring forth the nation with them? Yes, they did. Judah and Tamar, and his woman prior to that. Right. So even if you are half Canaanite, that doesn't make you less of an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? But again, in this instance, these children were put away, right? Which we're going to further speak about. That was it on that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21 and read 10 to 13. And I'm going to show y'all something. They'll say that it is 1,000% unlawful to deal with any non-Israelite according to the law. Again, we are not promoting nor perpetuating the ideology that one should go deal with heathen women. We're just simply reading the law, okay, and telling you what the law states verbatim, what is forbidden according to the law, all right, and how it relates to this situation. All right, we're speaking about in the Ezra and Nehemiah period. If you could, Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 10.
Right, read on.
When thou go forth to war against thine enemies.
Who are our enemies?
Other nations.
Other nations. The Canaanites were our principal enemies for a time, then the Philistines, now the Edomites, right? But any other nation could be our enemies, right? Read on.
And the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands.
So you conquer these people. Read on.
And thou hast taken them captive.
And you take captives. You now have these people in slavery. Read on.
And seest among the captives a beautiful woman.
Wait, there's one of these women who is a heathen who you find attractive. This is in the law. Let's see what it says. Read.
And hast a desire unto her.
And you actually want to deal with this woman. Read on.
That thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then shalt thou bring her home to thine house.
I thought you weren't supposed to do that. It says, then you shall bring her home to your house. Okay, so if Deuteronomy 7 applies to all nations, then why is Deuteronomy 21 contradicting? It's not. Okay? Only people it's talking about are the 7 nations of Canaan. All right, we had concubines of other nations at other periods of time. When things started to go wrong is when we started to put those concubines on the level of our women, when we started following after the ways of those concubines, etc., etc. That's when these things happen. Okay, but these things happened prior to that on other instances, and they didn't have that type of influence. Okay, again, not saying that we should do it, but saying that according to the law, it's technically not wrong. Okay, and according to the law, what y'all are saying isn't true, and how you guys are misinterpreting the situation that occurred in the Ezra Nehemiah history is incorrect. Period. Go ahead.
Keep going.
That was 13?
No.
Yeah, go to 13.
It says, And she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband.
After that,
she shall be thy wife.
You let her mourn for 30 days. Then you can have sex with her, and that is your woman. You understand what I'm saying? So, but these people say, no, it's against the law to deal with these people. No, not according to that. Not according to that. Only people I see in the law it says not to deal with are the 7 Canaanite nations. Nobody else. So when people come and they have these trumped up doctrines, okay, it's very simple to cut. All we got to do is go back to the law. We got to go back to the foundation. If that's the case, explain that to me. Who are these enemies who are taken captive, and now we see a fine captive woman, and now we're taking her, and now she's out? How is that happening? You see what I'm saying? Again, and we're gonna get on interracial dating in a second, okay? We're not sitting here promoting interracial dating on either side of the spectrum, okay? But we just put things in context, okay? Historically, it's just the facts, all right? Okay, right? Where we at? That was Deuteronomy 13. Let's go to 2 Samuel 3 and 2-3.
Did you you still wanted Ezra?
We're gonna get back to that momentarily. So you can drop
2 Samuel what?
2 Samuel 3 and 2-3.
2 Samuel chapter 3 verse 2. And unto David were sons born in Hebron.
David had sons, read.
And his firstborn was Amnon of Ahanium, the Jezreelitess.
Jezreel, that's an Israelite. Read.
And his second, Keliab, or Keliab, of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite.
Israelite woman. Read on.
And the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Gesher.
King of Gesher.
Gesher.
King of Gesher is an Assyrian. So David had a child by who? An Assyrian woman. Did the Most High rebuke David? Did Samuel rebuke David right here? No, he didn't. Okay? Because that technically wasn't wrong, because the Assyrians were not people who we were forbidden to have a relationship and marriages with at that time. Okay? So we have instances, again, we have to go back into the history and show instances of righteous Israelite men who did in fact mingle, so-called mingle, or deal with heathen women and have children by them, and they were never corrected on it, and it never said that they were wrong for doing it. Why? Because you are interpolating and adding to the book based upon feelings and emotions. Okay? We have to take our feelings and emotions in totality out of the equation and just deal with precept upon precept, dealing with the law, dealing with the history, dealing with precepts, dealing with what's the word I'm looking for? Not prerequisite, but similar prerequisite. What do we say in court? Precedents. We're dealing with the precedents. Let's take a look at history and let's take a look at the precedents. Just like they made an oath to do that. According to the law, they didn't have to do that, but they decided to make the oath to do that. We have already substantiated according to the law, and we showed precedents with King David that they didn't have to do that, but they decided to do it. That was their own decision at that time. Okay? Go ahead.
And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. And the fifth.
That's it. Or I think that's pretty much it. That's the only point I wanted. I want you now to go to 1 Kings real quick. Go to 1 Kings, the 4th chapter, read 4 and 1-3. I mean, select it. The 4th chapter, yeah, read 1-3.
1 Kings chapter 4, verse 1. So King Solomon was king over all Israel.
King Solomon was king over all of Israel. Read on.
And these were the princes which he had. Azariah, the son of Zadok the priest. Eliharith, and Ahiah, the son of Shisha, scribes. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, and the reporter, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the host, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers.
What we had?
You said 1-3.
Yeah, that
was already at 5.
So like I think I may have meant Second Kings. Let me go ahead to 2 Kings to find out.
certain women of the wife of the sons of the prophets of the, Elijah.
Hold on, let me see something. So like I don't know what I need right here. It's all good. Let's go to Judges 14 and read 1 to 4. Now, if we remember, we went to Deuteronomy, we saw that 7 particular nations we were forbidden from dealing with. All right. During the time of Ezra and Nehemiah, there was a nation that was getting dealt with, which are customarily our enemies, the Philistines. Okay, we dealt with the Philistine women, but if you notice in Deuteronomy 7, the Philistines are not mentioned. Okay, only Canaanites are mentioned in Deuteronomy 7. Philistines are descendants of who?
Ham.
Which branch of Ham? The Egyptians.
Okay.
Philistines are Egyptians. Okay, that basically developed a colony in quote unquote Canaan, right under the Canaanites. Okay, so the Philistine women were getting dealt with. All right. Now they're not forbidden to deal with according to the law. Now watch this. Let's go to Judges 4, and Judges 14, and this is gonna show us a lot in Judges 14. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 14, verse 1. And Samson went down to Timnath.
So Samson went down to Timnath. Read.
And saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines.
He saw a Philistinian woman. Right. Read on.
And he came up and told his father and his mother, and said,
he came to his parents, and what did he say? Read.
I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines.
Read.
Now therefore get her for me to wife.
That's going to be my wife, that Philistine woman. Okay, now let's take a look at how his parents react. Because in the beginning of the whole Samson story, it tells us that his parents were fearers of the Most High. They were keepers of the commandments. All right, so let's see how they react. If this is so wrong and this is so prohibited by law, wouldn't they cite the law? Let's find out how they react. Read.
Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren?
They didn't say
all thy people.
They didn't say, look, that's against the law. You're going off right here. You're being wicked. They said, look, you mean to tell me you can't find your own woman? Same thing. Your grandma or your mom might say, damn, you couldn't get a black girl. You know what I'm saying? Why gotta get this? You know what I'm saying? It's customary, traditional. Why would you go outside of the tradition? Are we not good enough? You see what I'm saying? But it's not necessarily a law on it. It's just, why would you do that? You see what I'm saying? Read on.
And you kind of see where with a bitterness of our women today, in today's time, where it comes from, how Jake always wanted to go and deal with someone of the other nation, and they kind of feel left out. It's like somebody told me before that when a man has a daughter, you kind of want a guy that kind of resembles yourself. And for a same thing with the mother and her son. So if you go and if you got a black brother, you go get it with a white woman. She's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you ashamed of your mother? In a sense. So it's like you kind of feel like your own people is ashamed, or you're ashamed of your own people, or they're not good enough.
Yeah, we're gonna delve off into that whole concept after this. But go ahead.
It says, then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
You gonna deal with this heathen woman? Read on.
And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me.
He said, look,
she pleases me well.
Hey, look, I'm not hearing that. She's fine as hell. You give me that woman. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 4. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord.
Knew not that what?
It was of the Lord.
It was of the Lord that he dealt with this woman. Finish that?
That he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
So it was of the Lord. Let's go to Sicarii 15 and 20. So it was of the Lord that what? Samson deal with and have a union with a Philistine woman. That's so foul.
When it says that they had dominion over Israel, was that mean we was living inside of that?
We were in Israel, but we were tributaries to the Philistines at this time. They had conquered us at this period of time. So Samson was set up to deliver us and be a savior unto us from that situation. But go ahead with that, Sirach 15 and 20. So again, it was of the Lord that he dealt with this Philistine woman. So let's see what the Bible says.
Sirach chapter 15, verse 20.
Read.
He hath commanded no man to do wickedly.
The Most High don't command people to do wickedness. So if he set that up to happen, it wasn't for wickedness, okay? He wouldn't command Samson to go and break the law by dealing with this Philistine woman. Why? Because it was not prohibited by law to deal with the woman of the Philistines, only the Canaanite women. So if you notice in Ezra and Nehemiah, women who aren't Canaanites are also mentioned, but predominantly it's Canaanite women that are mentioned that we was dealing with in that time period. So when they're speaking about the breaking of the law, it's in dealing with the Canaanite women or following the gods of these other women, not necessarily the actual dealings with Egyptians and Moabites and Ammonites, etc., etc. Read on.
Neither hath he given any man license to sin.
He wasn't going to give Samson a license to sin to deal with that Philistine woman. So it must not have been a sin if he set it up for that to occur. All right, that was it on that. Let's go now to 1 Corinthians 10 and 23. 1 Corinthians 10 and 23 is going to help us to understand something, which she hit on earlier when we read in Ezra 10 about the counsel of my Lord, which basically the advice that Ezra was given. Let's read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient.
Things are lawful, but things are not expedient, okay? Just because it's technically not against the law to deal with certain of the heathen outside of the Canaanites, it's not expedient to do so, okay? So that's where advice comes in. A wise man can give you advice on what to do and what not to do, even if certain things are lawful and not lawful. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
All things are lawful for me.
All things are lawful, read.
But all things edify not.
All things edify not, okay? Confusion, or people may be taken aback if they see you walking down the street with a white man. You're supposed to be a Hebrew Israelite. You're supposed to hate the white man. I thought they was the devil. Not saying you should get with the white woman, but technically it's not a law against it. You see what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, it can cause confusion, so it's not expedient for you to do. Now, you have certain brothers who may have had a child with a white woman before they came into the truth, so they still have a relationship with that white woman because they have children or family or whatever. You see what I'm saying? But the idea is to that's not the ideal situation for one to be searching out for. And the majority of brothers who I know who deal with white, who got a white baby's mother or something, they're not out in public running around with that white woman. Okay? Why? Because it's not expedient for you to do so based off of the person who you are, the lifestyle that you live, the things that you preach. It's not smart.
Hey man, I'm telling you, like, you'd be surprised, man, how many white women are compelled by you telling them how much of a devil they are.
Because they're sick.
And that's just how sick they are.
They like
So some brothers, will succumb to that temptation of a white woman throwing herself at him after he's told her how much of a devil and how he's gonna, destroy them and exterminate them. I mean, this brother can account for this, but good thing we don't like white women.
Very true.
Otherwise, it would be very confusing for us.
Okay.
But that's serious though. A lot of brothers will fall into that after you can. I remember I condemned this white woman so bad, and she was just like, "Yeah, so you got a Facebook or a phone number?" I was like, "I just told you you're the goddamn devil, man."
And she just wanted you that much more.
It was sick,
It's sick. Let's go to Tobit 4 and 12. All right. Now things are lawful, but things are not expedient. So we have counsel. We have advice. Wise men give advice, right? So let's take a look at the advice that Tobit gave unto his son here in the book of Tobit, 4 and 12.
Tobit chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son.
Read.
And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father.
Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father. Have your own woman. Okay, read.
And take not a strange woman to wife.
Don't take a strange woman to wife. Is this law? No. But it's what this father is instructing his son to do. Okay? And it's great advice. Read on.
Which is not of thy father's tribe, for we are the children of the prophets.
We are the children of the prophets of the Most High. Read.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred.
Of their own kindred. So we supposed to marry wives of our own kindred. That's customary. That's traditional. You have something? Okay, go ahead.
And were blessed in their children,
Uh-huh.
and their seed shall inherit the land.
And their seed shall inherit the land. Okay, that was it on that. Now let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians 7:6. So we see a father giving his son advice, and good advice. Advice that we should give heed to, but it's not law. So don't try to write it into the law or add it into the law. All right, that's basically the whole thing. Ezra and Nehemiah, they did what they did for their time, and we're going to kind of bring that home here in a second. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment.
By permission and not of commandment. And this is how they were speaking in that time. By permission and not of commandment. This was the advice or what they felt like they should do at that time, but this was not a commandment that was to last for the generations. The commandments that were to last for the generations, the Most High gave us to Moses.
Yeah.
And that's not
Never
included.
change.
And it don't change. All right. So, like for example, let's say we go out to a bar. Let's say we frequently start frequenting bars. Let's say we start frequenting bars, bros may have a little too much to drink, altercations occur. Let's say altercations start to frequently occur to where it's like every time we're going out, something stupid is happening. So then we come together and we make an oath and we say, we ain't going to bars. Is it lawful? Is it not okay to go to a bar and have a beer? That's fine. Okay. But if certain things happen, it may be in our best interest for expedience sake to stop doing that. Or let's say a particular brother has a drinking problem. We know that drinking wine in moderation, strong drink in moderation is acceptable biblically. But let's say a brother has issues with moderation. Let's say a brother has issues with drinking. Maybe a brother becomes an alcoholic. That brother may have to take a vow to, for a time or permanently, not deal with alcohol. Does that mean alcohol is not lawful? Oh yeah, you in the camera. Does that mean alcohol is not lawful? No, it doesn't. That just means for that brother, this is the best advice that we can have, and he makes an oath based upon that advice. Okay, so that's basically what that's talking about. Let's go down to Ezra 10.
It's like the oath of being a eunuch.
Yeah, eunuch.
You know,
Nazarite.
Or a Nazarite.
Any oath.
Like
any
yourself.
oath.
Any oath, you know, for some brothers. I'm trying to own that. Okay. But yeah, you know, I remember we was telling one brother that you know, it was probably not, he hadn't dealt with women and you know in a long time. It was like, you know,
maybe you just shouldn't.
Maybe you just shouldn't, you know, and just kind of stick to the path that you want, and that's probably how the Most High has it. You know?
Because if you go back to the lesson we did at this brother's house a couple of months ago, rule your flesh, rule the world. Because that's the thing, like, if let's say you may have been a brother and you know, through whatever situation, you may have been on a dry spell. You know, maybe it's best in your best interest to refrain, because the scriptures speak about like the lust. Matter of fact, if you could get it real quick, look up the term deflower for me real quick.
Deflower?
Deflower. It might be in the Apocrypha. The scriptures got this one covered. Okay. Yeah, it's in the Apocrypha. It's got to be. Read that. Select.
Sirach chapter 20 verse 4. As is the lust of a eunuch to deflower a virgin.
The lust of a eunuch to deflower a virgin. Right, read.
So is he that executed judgment with violence.
It's like somebody who's a violent person who wants to violently execute judgment or wrath upon somebody. That's the same level of lust that a eunuch has to deflower a virgin. So it may be best that you don't do that, okay? Because this is something that could potentially become a problem for you. You see what I'm saying? So that's got to be understood. Certain things are lawful, but certain things are not expedient, okay? And that's basically the situation of the Ezra Nehemiah period, to put away these wives and these children. Okay, just, you know, plain and simple. Let's go now to Ezra 10 and 5. We'll go back here to back to the account, and we're gonna bring it home through the Spirit. Go ahead.
Ezra chapter 10, verse 5.
Read it.
It says, Then arose Ezra and made the chief priests, the Levites, and all Israel to swear that they should do according to this word.
So look, he said, look,
Swear.
they're going to come together and they're going to make this oath. Everybody's going to swear and do according to this word. Not according to the law that the law instructed us to do this, but we had a council. We decided this is what we're going to do, so we're all going to make this oath. All right, read on. That was in 05?
Yeah.
Okay, let's now go to Ecclesiastes 3 and 5 again. All right, so they made that oath. They put away the Ammonite women and Hamite women, Edomite women, and they put away all the children that they had by these people, by these women, right? Now, let's read this.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 5. A time to cast away stones.
There was a time to cast away stones. That time of Ezra and Nehemiah was a time to cast away stones. Read on.
And a time to gather stones together.
And then there's a time to gather stones together. And that's the time we're in now, the time of gathering stones together. Especially all the mixing our people is done. It would be damn near impossible to get 12,000 pure breads at this point. That was it on that, on 5?
A time to embrace.
A time to
and
embrace.
a time to refrain from embracing.
All right, so now we're in the time of embracing. That time was a time of refraining from embracing. That was it on that. Okay, let's now go to Psalms 147 and 2. Okay, let's prove that we're now in the time of gathering or the time of embracing. All right?
Psalm chapter 147, verse 2. The Lord doeth build up Jerusalem.
The Lord doeth build up Jerusalem. We've been dealing with the Temple Man series, how we're in the process of building the temple. The Most High doeth what? Buildeth Jerusalem. Read.
He gathereth together the outcasts of Israel.
Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, cannot be built unless the outcasts are gathered. It's not what those people were in that time. Did not they get outcast? They got cast out, right? So now the outcasts have to be gathered. Okay, that's the only way for Jerusalem to actually be built. Okay, the stones got to be gathered in, as it says in Ecclesiastes 3 and 5. Let's go now to Zephaniah 2 and 1.
It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
We're a nation not desired. We're a people, we're a speckled bird, we all these various things, and now we have to be gathered together, all right? Irregardless of a situation that happened in the past with the Ezra and Nehemiah period. Irregardless of if you're mixed or not, okay? Which we already went into a couple weeks ago. Now, let's go to Genesis 49 and 10.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 10. It says, The scepter shall not depart from Judah,
Read.
nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come.
Until Shiloh comes. Shiloh is a prophetic, poetic name for who the world calls Christ, Yahweh Shai, right? Read on.
And unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Unto Yahweh Shai shall the gathering of the people be. He came, he suffered, died, and was buried, rose again. Now we're in the latter days, awaiting his return on the earth. And his return on the earth symbolizes the gathering of the nation of Israel. All right? So that's what time we're in right now. The gathering time. All right? The gathering of the outcast. Right? Read on.
You go.
That's it on that, on 10. Okay. Let's now go to Matthew 10, 5 to 7.
Great.
Just all proven we're in a time of gathering right now. The gathering of the outcasts of Israel. The people who were shunned, okay? Which further extends to who? The Gentiles of the New Testament, which we know are Israelites, okay? They were ones that were casted out, that were looked down upon, that were counted as heathens. Why? Because of councils like what happened with Ezra and Nehemiah, which served his purpose for that time. But later on, after Yahweh Shai came, he said, nah, now we got to go get them. And we got to bring them back, okay? Because now the scripture saying Amos 9, that Israel shall be sifted, but not the least grain shall fall. Meaning, if you're the seed of Israel, you're not going to fall on that stony ground ultimately. You're going to ultimately be delivered, ultimately be in the kingdom, irregardless of what soil that seed was planted in. Okay? AKA the woman that, was utilized to bring forth that seed. Right? Read on.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Yahweh Shai sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not to the way of the Gentiles, read.
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that's what Yahweh Shai was saying. He said, go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Go to those same people who may have been descendants of the people who were cast out in that Ezra and Nehemiah period. Go to those of our people who were alienated from the commonwealth of Israel. Read on.
And as ye go, preach,
Uh-huh.
saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Let them know the kingdom of heaven is at hand and is within them. They are the kingdom of heaven. All right? Irregardless of if their quote unquote mixed or if their lineage was put away. Going back to Ezra and Nehemiah. Okay, that was it on that. Let's go to Acts 2 and 5.
That's right. Book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 5.
Uh-huh.
It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men
who are of the stock of Israel. Read on.
out of every nation under heaven.
Out of every nation under heaven. These people were scattered. They were put away in Ezra and Nehemiah. So if you had a mother that was a Moabite, where are you going? You're going to Moab.
That's right.
You're going to Elam. You're going to wherever your mother is from at that point, right? So now, in the time of Acts, the Holy Spirit is now hopping on these brothers who are scattered throughout all the world, right? That was it on 5?
Yeah.
Let's go to Acts 13:26. Because there's one thing that's important, okay? One thing that's important, one thing that the promises have to deal with. All right, we're going to find out what that is right here, point blank, and period. Read on.
Acts chapter 13, verse 26.
Men
and brethren,
and brethren.
children of the stock of Abraham.
Children of who?
Stock of Abraham.
Children of the stock of Abraham. That's what's important. If you are of the seed of Abraham, okay? Read.
And whosoever among you feared the Most High,
If you're of the seed of Abraham and you fear the Most High, read.
to you is the word of this salvation sent.
And to you is this word of salvation. That's what matters. You will be gathered as long as you come from the seed line, the patrilineal seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, that was on that. Okay, let's go back to Tobit 4. Now we will kind of switch gears, but it's going to be on the same topic. Okay, we're going to deal with interracial dating. A couple of weeks ago, we had a video, right, and it dealt with what was it called? Black women love interracial dating estimated. We was on the streets. You see the video? Well, these two women came. That was from Orange County.
Yeah.
One of which proudly proclaims how she was married to a black man for 22 years now. She's dating all these crackers and she loves them. All right.
And her friends are calling her white.
And their friends were getting on her about it, right? Now we got on the black one because a lot of black women is becoming like a progressively, like it's becoming more and more trendy, right? Especially in San Diego. But to be fair, okay, because a lot of people are coming to, a lot of sisters coming to comments, well, brothers is doing it more than us. And to be fair, it's true. That's the reality of the situation. So we're going to tackle that, and we're going to tackle the psychological problem with that, okay, especially with not just white women, but all women, but I guess white women in particular, because that's probably who it's happening the most with. Let's go to Tobit 4, and I want you to start at 12 again, okay, but read 12 to 13, because, better just read. We're going to get to the point. Just read.
Tobit chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son.
That's right.
And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Take a wife of the seed of your fathers. Read on.
And take not a strange woman to wife.
Do not deal with these women of these other nations, whether it be a white woman, an Asian woman, a Hamitic African woman. Do not take these women. Arab woman, right? Read on. But what does a nigga want? He wants all this foreign, exotic, something he never seen before, whatever. Right? Go ahead.
Which is not of thy father's tribe, but we are the children of the prophets.
We are the children of the prophets. Read on.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
Read on.
Now therefore, my son.
Therefore, my son, read.
Love thy brethren.
Love thy brethren. Okay? Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, and nation of Israel, we're supposed to love each other. Read on.
It says, and despise not in thy heart thy brethren.
Despise not in thy heart thy brethren. You know what happens if you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, or child, and all you want is another group of people? You are now despising your people. You are despising your brother. You have, I haven't seen this so much with black men, but with a lot of black women that are frequently starting to date white men. If you just pay attention to social media, what they'll say is colorblind love, or black men will do it too, colorblind love. That's not colorblind love. If you prefer white girls or white men, that's not colorblind love. There's nothing colorblind about it. You like white better than you like your own. There's no color. You like a specific color. Nothing colorblind about that. You have a preference. People always act like they don't have a racial preference. Not just a racial, but just a preference. We all have preferences. We all have things that we like. things that we like more than others. Don't play with it. But if you prefer one over your own, what you now are doing is what? Despising your brethren, right? Despising your own people at that point. If you find something good in every other people but your own. Read on.
The sons and daughters of thy people, and not taking a wife of them, for in pride.
See, look, you were despising. If you are a so-called black, Hispanic, Native Indian man, an Israelite man, and you do not take an Israelite woman, you despise your people. That's proof. Read that again.
It says, in not taking a wife of them, for in pride is destruction and much trouble.
That's pride, okay, and much trouble comes from that. All right, a lot of trouble does come from interracial relationships. Am I right or wrong? Right? Go ahead.
And in lewdness is decay and great want.
And in lewdness is decay and great want. So again, it says that you despise your brethren when you do not take a wife that is of your brother. Okay? Everything secure?
Yeah. Good.
All right. Go ahead.
For lewdness is the mother of famine.
That's it on that? Okay, let's go to 2 Maccabees 4 and 15. This is basically going to break it down and get to the root of it here in the book of 2 Maccabees. We have already established that not taking a wife of your own is despising your own people. Okay, and it works by birth of your woman. You don't take a husband of your own, you now despise your own people. Okay. You said what?
You can choose.
What you mean? What you mean, like women can choose not to?
Like women take men. I thought men.
I
take
mean,
women.
in this day and age, the way this society is set up, girls weigh their choices, right?
They have options.
Now they got options. They got all these thirsty niggas and all that.
You have wicked liberties.
Well, that's good.
Something called decision.
Yeah, because women is not supposed to have those. Like you said, well, what? Women are making the choice now. I know it sounds insane,
You know,
right?
what's funny, as crazy as it sounds to you now, in the time where you've grown up now, imagine it to a woman back in the day where it was uncommon, and they were giving out I'm talking about these women eyes lit up in great joy. All right, and they took advantage of that wicked decree.
Yeah, that's right. That's a wicked decree, bro.
Well, it's obvious because nowadays what you got women with like 3 or 4 baby dads.
Yeah.
Like,
All kind of
clear
side
and
dudes.
evident that this shit don't work.
What do we got? Dude that pay the bills, food zone, a text buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All them various things, right?
Kevin fixes the computer.
Kevin fixes the computer. He's a nerd,
He's
right?
a nerd.
Right, but go ahead.
2nd
14, Salakia. 4, 15 to 17. You know what I need.
2 Maccabees 4 and 15.
Go ahead.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
Not setting by the honors of our fathers. This is what our people do. They do not set by our fathers' honors. Read.
But liking the glory of the Greeks best of all.
Liking the glory of the Greeks, liking the white man's glory. This is what it boils down to. When you prefer another race over your own, you prefer their glory over yours. You find them more glorious than you find yourself. All right? Go, you got a point?
Yeah, because a lot of women who say they date interracially, really, what I've begun to understand is this code word for white guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't need to really tell the Mexican and Hispanic, Latino, you don't need to tell them that you are interracial. And it really kind of boils down to they are just saying to the white dude, like, I'm here, you know.
And the proof of that is, when we're going to go to the stats in a second. When you go to the stats, Hispanics are not included in interracial dating stats.
Right.
If a Hispanic and a black person get together, we understand that they're Israel, but even though we understand that the white man considers us 2 different people. In the case of interracial dating, that's not included.
What's black, white, black, Asian?
Black, white, black, Asian, black, and Native American. Those are the only, those 3 interchanging. Those are the only categories. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So, and to your point, when you look up those stats, the least common combination is who?
Black, Native American.
Black and Asian. Black woman, Asian man in particular. Black woman, Asian man. Black woman, Asian man is the least. So when they say they date interracial, what are they saying? I date white. That's according to the statistics. Okay.
I'll go for the white. I'll do white guys.
But the thing is, black men are dating white women 2 to 3 times as much as black women are messing with white men. Even though it's growing right now, 2 to 3 times black men are doing it more, right? And what are they doing? They are setting by the honors of the Grecians best of all. It's called white supremacy. They grow up, what do they want? A blonde hair, blue eye, 2-dimensional, white picket fence, suburban home, all those various things, because that's what shoved down our throat. On the other side, black women, same thing, and it's increasing, but it's affecting the men a lot more. Just to be honest, just to be fair.
And I got two coworkers, two old jakes, been married to white women for 30 years. And
go.
they look at me like I'm crazy, because it's like, man, I don't like white people. I'm pretty blunt with it. Like, I don't like white people, period. They're like,
Lauren likes white men.
Oh.
Say it again.
Lauren likes white men.
And that's why we need to get Lauren into class. All
See,
right?
but-
So
They
she
get
can
this
get
we're here.
more strong, powerful black.
That's right.
but guys,
We're here in San Diego, and this is the interracial capital of the goddamn world.
Definitely.
On every side, you see everything. Every combination you had, East Indian, Native American.
Let me ask you this. I know you've had the conversation with Lauren. Why did she say she likes white men?
Because there aren't any good black men.
You know what? You know what? You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? What did B-Dub say?
There's not any good black men.
There's no decent black men. Hey,
There's no black men that are dope dealers. That's what she said.
Wait. What did the two women say on at camp?
There's no good black
yeah.
men.
There's no good black men.
So we need to do a
Well, the one said it. The other one didn't say it.
The other one was pretty much.
The other one was co-signing it, but she probably was married to a black dude. Just to be
She
frank.
didn't really want to be like.
She was like, I accept it, but she didn't put that on her. That
Which
she
one?
was
You're
partaking.
talking about the one
The
that.
cousin, the one who said, well, they call him my cousin whitewash because she did interracial.
No, but
One
she
in
was the
red
one that
dress.
was married.
Yeah, she was probably actively
She
married.
was married to the white. I mean, to the black man for 22 years.
No.
Oh, you saying the other one?
The
was,
other one was probably married at that time.
Okay.
That's why because she didn't say that she did. She's
Right.
like, my cousins do it. I think it's fine, but I don't necessarily do it. But she do. You know what
But
I'm saying?
what's the whole cap on what's
You know what's funny?
not a good black man?
This
what's not a
this
good
girl's told this brother that there's no niggas that's not dope dealers. You know the small percentage of black men that are actually dope dealers? Let's just be honest
They
here.
can't all be dope dealers.
That's right.
How much dope do you think is getting sold in this town?
That's
I mean, it's a lot of dope.
If that's the case, everybody be on dope.
If that's the case, look at who's shipping the dope in here. Listen to the real dope.
It's funny because that's what we're gonna do later. Me and this brother got a lesson on who's bringing the dope
Let's
in
talk
later.
about the dope.
You know, but the whole thing is, and it's just a fact. They can say and give whatever excuse they want. They've done studies on it. You know why? Women date interracially, aka women date white men. An upgrade in socioeconomic status. That's it. They're the top of the socioeconomic totem pole in this country. Women are striving to get there. Okay, they're looking.
So
They're gold diggers. They're going into a primitive mindset. Your primitive lower self is thinking, I need to do what I can to survive. I can get the most perks and live the most comfortably in this society if I get with the person who comes with the most perks in the society as a woman. So she automatically cleaves unto a white man.
It's just
Is
like
that
They still dirtbags though.
That's the image of the beast. The image of the beast is that philosophy. The mark is something physical, the RFID chip, you see what I'm saying? But the image is that ideology that everybody has come to worship.
Mark.
You see what I'm saying? That's what goes into your mind, and that's why that's how everybody thinks now. You see what I'm saying? Like white people are the best. You see what I'm saying? Socioeconomic, because they're raised in this society.
And we see this with like their kids as well though. Like you feel me, black girls want to get with white guys so they can have light skinned babies so their babies don't grow up teased.
Babies look ugly.
Hold on. But let's understand first and foremost, black men are doing the same exact
Oh
thing.
no, definitely.
So that's the point of this. Because when we deal with another's glory, it specifically is dealing with the black man. Why?
Because we're the head of them.
Who is a black man's glory? Who is the Israelite man's glory?
That was shot.
His woman.
His woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
So if you like another woman better than your woman, you're saying that you're not glorious.
Come.
You're saying that other person is glorious. That's why this is more so geared towards what the men are doing. Because the men are doing it a whole lot more than the women are doing.
Come.
Me and him, remember we watched that joint on World Star? And it was doing the survey of the racial statistics on that dating site. And it was talking about how the black woman was more likely to respond to black men, but black men were less likely to respond to black women and more likely to respond to everybody else. So it had like it was crazy because they had like, it was like acting the whole thing out. right? So what happened is you would have black women walk up to black men, and black men look right past them, walk right past them, and go after somebody else, and the black woman was just sitting there alone. So everything just has to be weighed in the balance.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Who's doing it more? And then what did they say at the camp? What did she say? Well, all the black men are looking past me. They're looking at white women and Asian women and all these various things. So it doesn't justify anything, but it has to be factored in. Okay, who is the head now? Well, we know who the glory is. Who's the head? Give me Amos 7 real quick, 7 and 17.
Amen. I'm thinking when you're thinking, and when this brother just said or quoted the sister at the campsite, I mean, it goes back to Isaiah the 3rd chapter.
Come, Isaiah 3.
As to why this black man is looking past you and on.
Now we'll see that happened, but if you go to Amos 7 and 17,
perpetual thing.
if you go to Amos 7 and 17, it's going to tell you what the root of this whole issue is.
This is Amos chapter 7, verse 17. It says, therefore thus said the Lord, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city.
Thy wife shall be a harlot in the city. Why shall your wife be a harlot in the city? Because of what you did. So it all falls on who? The black man. Kind of. But let's go a little further. Let's go further. Who does it really fall on? Eve. So we're going to put it all on Eve. Nah, but the black man has to take responsibility as what? As a leader. All right. But at the same time, I mean, the whole paradigm, like the brother said, it's so jacked up because it's like, okay.
It's like this leads to this, leads to this, leads to all back to, well,
it's like,
it all comes back to that.
Well, it's like, okay, I want to deal with a black woman, but then I get with the black woman and then she has all these issues. And then, we're just all messed up. All right, as a people, and we're all messed up as a result of our sins, but as a result of the white supremacist condition that we've all been susceptible to.
Actually,
I think we just
need to put a charge up of Israel. I have to say, because it's like, okay, that's hypothetically a good black woman, an obedient, an ibad black woman. Guess what the dude? The dude, she always gonna get the weirdo. The dude that's gonna mistreat her and dog her and be running around doing all a bunch of stuff. Esau is gonna give her, this good black woman, the liberty to say, or the choice to either stay with him or leave him because she doesn't agree with his lifestyle or how he's treating her, his behavior towards her. Now she leaves him, goes get with another weirdo. Now by this time, what was the brother video you just sent me?
Ringo.
He says. Now she's developed this bitter attitude, and now she's got a little, attitude now, and she's running through a whole bunch of dudes. Either she's careless and just running through dudes without no type of commitment to her, or she just keeps trying to find that commitment somewhere and throwing herself to men. Now, she's ran through and still trying to look for this quote unquote good man. Now.
Yeah, kind of.
What we at?
Even good.
Yeah.
Where we at?
Amos 7:17.
We don't got to finish that. We got the point on that. Let's go back to 2nd Maccabees 2. Or you know what I mean? 4. I mean, why am I saying 2? 4, 15 to 17. Who's at 16? Okay, go ahead. Pick it back up.
It says 2 Maccabees 4:16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them.
So the exalting and the setting on the glory of other nations, calamity comes upon us for this reason. Okay, so calamity is continually coming upon our people. Why? Because we're clearly and we continually are seeking the glory of another nation. Read on.
For they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
We had them to be our enemy. Who is the main people gunning us down in the street and oppressing us? White people. The main people we're also seeking to get with. Okay? Because black women now, even though black men are doing it 2 to 3 times more than black women, the main people that black women are dating outside of their quote unquote race is braggers, white men, Edomites, right? Go ahead.
Whose custom they follow so earnestly.
There are people who want to follow the customs so earnestly. The courtship customs, the marriage customs, the ideological customs, the standard. Oh, this is how a man is supposed to be. This is how a woman is. This is what a man is supposed to do. What a woman is supposed to do. All of that are things that were imposed on you by the white man. Right. When you go into the Bible, things are different. You see what I'm saying? Things are not like that. But since we follow these rules, we're screwed right now. Right? Now we have to understand something. How many black people they say is in this country? Who knows the numbers? Numbers?
40 million.
44.
40 to 44 million. Do you know how many white couples, married couples there are in this country?
White married couples.
50 million. There are more white married couples in this country than there are black people, period, in this country. Okay, so guess what? They can afford to interracially date because there's still 50 million of them that stayed within their race. All right. Now there's only
That's 100 million.
Now listen, that's 100 million people. You see what I'm saying? There's only 4 million married black couples in this country.
4?
Mostly because we're not getting married.
You said 4?
4 million
That's a
married
terrible number.
black couples in this country. Now, there's far more married black couples than there is interracially married black couples. I want to say it's about 400,000 black men with white women, about 200,000 black women with white men. You see what I'm saying? Let's triple every number, factoring in dating, because we know a lot of people don't get married. Okay, so if we even factor in dating, we still are. It's more of us getting married to our own than marrying outside of our own. But at the same time, the majority of us are not getting quote unquote married. Have a community. Remember, have a community. You gotta marry, have baby moms. You gotta have a community. But nah, it's only 4 million married black couples. So we're paling in comparison to what the white people are doing. Of course, because we are a quote unquote minority. And even when you connect us to the Hispanics and Native Indians population, you're still looking at 32% of the population. They still got to be, even if we all came together, just in this country, you see what I'm saying? So it is imperative that we stick together as much as possible, okay? And have lots of babies and also participate in what? Polygamy. Why do we have to participate in polygamy? Well, listen, it's 2 million more black women than black men in this country. Huh? 3 million?
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, you see that? Well, now somebody has to take these women,
Listen, let me ask you this.
and somebody has to be their husband. Go ahead.
Are you now, or have you ever in the past had to have shared your man with another woman?
Had to, without, like, against my will.
Have you
Against
now,
my,
or have you ever in the
In
past
any capacity.
my man.
had to share your man with another woman? Yes.
How did you feel about it?
So yeah, how did you feel about that? Was it
Not
something,
good?
Was it something that was difficult for you to do, or did you find it rather easy?
Well, it was easy at first because I didn't feel like doing anything. So.
Yeah, she could handle everything. Put it on her.
And
Okay.
then when did it take a turn?
I mean, I think I tried to, what do you call it? Agree with being monogamous,
Mhm.
but it never bothered me because I don't know, it just didn't bother me like it bothered other women. Like, I don't share my man.
All that selfishness. That
But now
sickly
you're
selfish
against
ideology.
it.
I've never really been against it. I mean, I would like to know who these other women
Of
are.
course. Well, you have
I
the
don't
right.
want it to be a
And with you
secret.
being okay with that comes with honesty and openness and comfort, you know,
If you
and
don't tear the house up.
a certain level of respect in that manner, you know.
And nobility is a noble thing. But
No,
you-
I don't know. She's doing some other dudes, and then that.
And you know what? And it's up to
She
you
got her
to watch that.
You got to honor the house. The household got to
That's
be
right.
honored.
That's right.
See, that's the first responsibility that a man has when he engages in that. He has to know who he's sleeping with. Because if he brings something home, now you have an issue where he has sinned against you. You see what I'm saying? You know, so you don't want that. Man doesn't want to do that and just be lawlessly sticking his thing in everything that's moving. That's not how it works, you know.
This
So
guy right here.
nah, but where we at? Let's go to 1 Corinthians real quick, 11-7. Well, polygamy is very important for a nation. Like you say, get together and have babies. We have to stick together as much as we can in this time, especially with all the separation and division that is already just happening amongst our people. Those of us that are in the know need to make the most and the greatest conscientious effort to stick together. All right, I'll go ahead with that.
It says, whose custom they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all
Our
things.
people desire to be like these people in all things. That's why you want the women and men and their lifestyle. All right. And that's why they're destroying us every day, because we want to be like them. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians 11:7. Done with that.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 7.
Uh-huh.
For a man indeed ought not to cover his head,
Uh-huh.
for as much as he is the image and the glory of the Most High,
Read on.
but the woman is the glory of the man.
The woman is the glory of the man. Okay, so again, if you're Israelite man, your glory is what? Israelite woman. Okay, not nobody else's glory. So you should be seeking your own glory and not nobody else's glory. Let's now go to Genesis 2 and 21 to 24 to finish this out.
I don't know how guys pick Esau over Issachar. You look, we have 10 other tribes that you can choose from, 9 other tribes you can choose from.
Again,
Yeah.
it's a
It's
lot
preference,
of times, it's tough to be. And now, to my opinion, I mean, speaking as a man, and nowadays, man, it's what a lot of men, I feel like, is what attracts
Come
is
their
attracted
way.
to them. Yeah,
Come their way. Yeah.
is what's attracted to them. Again, you can, you know what I mean, you could be a dude to where you just spitting some stuff, you know what I mean, and you see this white woman and you want to tell her about herself. And she sees confidence, she sees power, she sees a badass mother who don't take nothing from nobody, and now she's on you. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't have a woman, I'm at home, I'm alone. Whoa, hey, I'm just gonna take this white woman. I'm sure if it's an Issachar woman came to him, it'd be the same thing.
But you also have to take into consideration something called a plantation love affair. Okay, the white woman is coming along because she has a plantation love affair that she's had with you for hundreds of years. Same reason why a white man is gonna come along for a black woman. It's a plantation love affair that we've had for centuries. It's been going on. This taboo that people just want to explore. You see what I'm saying? So it's when a white woman looks at you, she looks at you as an object of sex and lust. Same way that a white man looks at a black woman. That's why. What is the first thing we saw this on the movie Sanaa Lathan did when she was dating Esau? We see this almost every time we go downtown and we take a look at these actual interracial couples. First thing the white man's going to tell you to do, take that weave out. I want to see her natural hair.
That is so. Makes me feel like a petting zoo.
There you go. It's like it's different than what's her name? Tiana Paris from Dear White People, from Survivor's Remorse. Beautiful sister. Okay, might I add. Okay, but she was eating at the Ritz in LA. First off, you should have been at Roscoe's. Okay, you should have been at the Ritz where the Crackers is at anyway. But anyway, Ritz Crackers. So she's at the Ritz. She says some old 50, 60, 70-year-old white man just walks up and starts like it's just cool, all up in her hair. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And I guess and then I guess there was a black girl that was like a waitress there, and he told the manager, "Come here. You should tell her to wear her hair like this. It's so nice." And she, was just tweeting about how enraged and how violated and how fetishized she felt. But then you have black women who every day is walking down the street with white men hand in hand, and they're not realizing they're playing directly into that. But a lot of times they're vulnerable or whatever.
She had that little crop fro.
Yeah, she had the fro. She had like the fro. Yeah. So it's funny how that's what Esau wants. You see what I'm saying? He wants all of that. He wants the natural. He wants you to be you because you're this foreign thing he's got to conquer. You see what I'm saying? Just like on the plantation. You see what I'm saying? Putting a weave on the plantation. And I mean, not to my knowledge. I might could do some research about it otherwise, but to my knowledge, with no weave on the plantation.
Probably where they really get the horsehair from.
Yeah, they might have been getting the weave in the plantation.
Probably plucking that horsehair.
It's possible.
Shedding.
It's possible.
A lot of tailless horses out there.
Tailless, not all tail horses.
All tail horses, man.
This is Genesis
Bunch of bald tail horses.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 21. And the Lord Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Adam's rib was taken. What does that mean?
I'm in Texas the other day, actually. So
It means it was a woman that he was related to. It was his own people that he got. He didn't get a woman from nowhere else. Adam got a woman of his own nation.
So
Okay,
it wasn't like
his own people. That's what it means. Of his rib. Of course not. Of course not. Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone.
You know,
Okay.
the Jehovah's Witness tried to tell me that a man has one less rib.
One less rib. I've always said.
Somebody,
that.
listen. Didn't have the nerve to tell me, well, yeah, my wife, she studies this in school. I said, wait.
wait.
You mean to tell me you have a paid education and you're telling me that a man has one less rib than a woman? No. I mean, we looked it up. 26 ribs, all right?
This is not true.
I think it's 20. It ain't 26.
You about to
13.
count your ribs?
13, I think.
13 each. 13
I
each.
looked in, yeah, like looked in 13. Boom. I'm saying like not 26. That's way too good. But it says, and the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man.
All right, made him a woman of his own people and presented her unto him. So that's what we all are supposed to have, a woman of our own nation that is being given unto us. Okay, or multiple women of your own nation. That's been given unto us. That's our glory. That's what we're supposed to have. That's what, when it said in Tobit 4, as it was from the beginning, from Adam, time of Adam, we dealt with our own. We're supposed to deal with our own.
Verse 23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my
He
flesh.
said, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This is what you say when somebody is your relative. Bone of my bone, you flesh of my flesh. You're one. Okay.
She shall be called woman because she was taken out of men.
Uh-huh.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife,
You shall
and they
cleave
shall
unto
be
your
one
wife.
flesh.
You shall leave your family, and you shall make your own family of one flesh with your own people. That's what you're supposed to do, at least. Okay, with your own glory. That's how it's supposed to work. So we have to stop coveting after other people's glory and do with our own glory. Okay, because what we have is very glorious. Okay, Sister Tiana Paris, I just mentioned, is a prime example. But no, we got a plethora of beautiful women of our own, which I believe every brother in this room could agree to. And, that's what it is. That's pretty much the end of that. With that, Lord willing, we see you next week. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Shai, and Shalom.
Shalom.